Fox Sports.
We are the Fox. We are the Lions.
In game one of the series on Monday night, Bronson Arroyo pitched 8 shutout innings. In the Reds' final at bat, Jay Bruce played long ball in a 3-0 Reds win. But last night, a 1-run lead in the Colorado 8th. And Troy Tulowitzki homers with a man aboard in a 1-run Rockies win. So now we move to the decisive game of this 3-game series. And we welcome you to Great American Ballpark. The Reds and the Rockies on Fox Sports Ohio is presented by Kia. And hi again, everybody, alongside Chris Welsh. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball right here on Fox Sports Ohio. You've heard the news by now. Reds ace Johnny Cueto coming off an 8-inning, 1-hit shutout performance on Friday night in Pittsburgh. Still feeling some tenderness from the injury that has landed him on the disabled list already this year. And now, Chris, he's going back on again.
Well, anytime you have the same injury in the same year and it causes you another trip to the disabled list, it's something worth taking note of and making sure that it's going to be good before you finally come back. And Dusty Baker is certainly concerned about that, but he explained to everybody why they had to put Johnny Cueto on the disabled list.
It's the same injury he'd had before. You know, he felt it a little bit after he pitched in Pittsburgh. And, you know, he told us after the game that he felt it again. But like I said, not nearly as bad as last time. And so we just think that being cautious is the way to, you know, go with this thing. And, you know, he could possibly be back even, you know, miss 1 to maybe 2 starts.
Well, if you really read between the lines of what Dusty Baker said about Johnny Cueto, they want Johnny Cueto to be healthy, especially coming down the stretch in August and September. So if he has to miss a few starts here in June, it's worth it as long as you've got the big horse to ride down the stretch.
Cueto was supposed to start the game, as you know, tonight. Instead, making his first major league start, he pitched in 1 game for the Reds last year, is Pedro Villarreal.
He was in spring training with the Reds this year. He got a lot of camp time with the big leaguers down there. He's a guy that pitched in AAA, and it happened to be his day to pitch. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, why not Tony Cingrani? Well, Cingrani just pitched a couple of days ago, so this is not a day that he would be able to get out there and pitch in a major league game. So that's why Villarreal is up, and hopefully he'll be able to stay within himself, battle the butterflies, and give the Reds a good effort.
What lies ahead after this one? You know what's coming up over the weekend, but what about after that? We'll discuss it when we return.
Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, a few clouds have moved into the area as this day has rolled on. It was a beautiful afternoon again here in Cincinnati. What about the rest of the night, John Gump?
All right, tough loss last night. Let's hope the boys can rebound tonight. The weather doesn't look bad. We'll start in the upper 70s for the first pitch, down to 70 by the final out. Slim chance for a passing shower. If you see anything, it's not going to last long. We should be dry much of the night. Enjoy the game right here on Fox Sports Ohio.
All right, John, thank you very much. And another John Garland, been around the big leagues a long time, starting it tonight for Colorado.
About 12 years to be exact, and he did not pitch at all, actually, in 2012. John Garland didn't recovering from shoulder surgery, but he had a decent spring, and he's had 12 starts under his belt here for the Rockies so far this year. Not great numbers, 3-6 overall with a .581 during run average. It started really good for Garland. It's kind of come apart lately, but he seems to think that he's got things under control. And the Rockies, like the Reds, are looking for a good outing tonight.
Well, much was made about the Reds and the early part of the schedule, and taking a look at their opponents here in the month of June. Colorado, St. Louis, the Pirates, Arizona, Oakland, and Texas, all better than 500. You have 3 division leaders in that group, of course, and it starts with the Cardinals this weekend.
Well, the Reds have always played better at home so far this year, much better than on the road, but they've been playing better lately on the road, if that makes any sense. The Cardinals series this weekend looms very, very big, but again, like I said last night, you just can't let your team look too much forward. You got a game to play tonight.
Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by the Ford F-Series trucks, a best-selling truck in America 36 straight years. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili, feeling good. It's Skyline time. Good crowd on hand tonight, this Wednesday night game. Matt Lato's bobblehead night here tonight at the old ballpark. Walt Weiss and the Rockies getting the big home run by Tulowitzki in the 8th inning last night, and their lineup tonight has Eric Young in center, Arenado at third, and Carlos Gonzalez in left. There's Tulowitzki, the shortstop, Kadire in right, Todd Helton at first base. Willeen Rosario, the catcher. Jonathan Herrera had a big night last night. Knocked in a couple of runs, had 3 hits, and Garland on the mound. Pedro Villarreal. You look at his numbers so far this year in Louisville. He's coming off his best start of the season, his last time out.
You got to figure for a guy that didn't have much notice to get back up here into Cincinnati to make a start for the big league club, he probably hasn't had a whole lot of time to get nervous. So that may be a good thing for a young man who's making his first major league start, only his second major league appearance. He was up with the Reds last year. He pitched 1 inning last year of all, one of 12 pitchers in the entire Major League Baseball that only came up and pitched 1 inning or less. But Villarreal gets a call tonight in place of Johnny Cueto. Not an overpowering pitcher. He'll throw in the low 90s. 90 to 91 usually is about where he works. Slider, changeup, all the basic pitches for Villarreal. Like most guys that are in his position, it's all about exactly where he places that pitch.
Take a look at the Reds on defense, presented by your Ford dealers. Paul, Chu, Bruce, left, center, and right. Frazier and Votto, the corner infielders. Cozart and Jack Hanahan making his first start at second base. Brandon Phillips still out of the lineup. Says he'll be ready to go on Friday night. Reds beginning play 2.5 behind the front-running Cardinals in the National League Central. They played late into the night last night at Busch Stadium. Arizona getting a run-scoring base hit by Paul Goldschmidt in a 14-inning 1-run win. Cardinals and Diamondbacks playing 4 games. So they're playing tonight and again tomorrow night. Reds are off tomorrow. Here's Young. First pitch in there, strike 1, and we're underway. Vic Carapazza calls the balls and strikes tonight. Lance Barrett at first. Lance Barksdale for Kerwin Danley. And Gary Cedarstrom is the crew chief. Breaking ball misses up and away. A ball and a strike to Young. 252 batter. A home run and 6 runs batted in. Talked about it at length last night. His father, of course, a member of the original Colorado Rockies, who started play 20 years ago. On the ground to Cozart, and a good start for Villarreal. Villarreal, 25 years old, 6'1", 228-pounder. Was born in Edinburgh, Texas, and makes his home now in Dallas, Texas. Played collegiately for Howard College, that is in Big Spring, Texas, and was the Reds' 7th-round draft pick in June of 2008, signed by the scout Jerry Flowers. Last year went from AA to AAA, and as Chris mentioned, the one game, the one perfect inning for the big league club last September.
Interesting that you mentioned that he was signed by Jerry Flowers. I think I saw Jerry Flowers yesterday here at the ballpark. Of course, all the scouts, the regional scouts, the cross-checkers are all convening here in Cincinnati, and along with the scouting director Chris Buckley, in preparation of the amateur baseball draft, which is right around the corner. Actually, tomorrow it begins. The first couple of rounds start tomorrow. So they're all ready to go, according to Chris Buckley. But it's got to be a very proud moment also for Jerry Flowers, a scout that signs a player that finally makes it to the major leagues. It's kind of like being a dad and seeing your son out there.
No doubt about it. Nolan Arenado, Colorado third baseman, takes low and away, 2 balls and a strike. And the player never forgets a scout who signed him. You know, we refer frequently and have through the years, and deservedly so, about Gene Bennett and signing Chris Sabo and Barry Larkin and Paul O'Neill, and you know, every single one of those guys, every time they saw Gene Bennett, it's like they saw a second or third father, if you will, in their lives. Every time they saw him.
Yep.
Of course, Barry talked about Gene Bennett during his Hall of Fame induction speech last summer. 2-2 to Arenado. Fouled out of play. Good sign early, at least to 2 batters. Villarreal throwing a lot of strikes.
Well, he's a strike thrower. That's one of his real strengths out there. He doesn't have one of those put-away pitches, but he's a guy that will always peck around the strike zone, normally keep the ball down. And I think the more you pitch at the upper levels of minor league baseball and in the major leagues, you realize what you have to do to stay here. And for Villarreal, it is exactly that. Stay down and stay on the corners.
Clearly doesn't have a feel for that off-speed stuff here early in the game.
Now, the baseballs may be different. I mean, they aren't the same seams, the feel that you have in the minor leagues that you have up here. They may be rubbed up a little bit differently for him, but you're right. He has had the ball slip out of his hand a couple times already.
3-2 the count. Struck him out on a high fastball. 2 up, 2 down.
I don't know if Villarreal meant to go upstairs like he did right here, especially on a full count pitch, but that ball just kind of took off right out of his hands, and Arenado could not hold back. You get the first inning out of your way when you're making your first major league start. Boy, what a big breath of deep relief you're going to sigh. He's got one guy to go, and pretty good hitter stepping in the batter's box right here.
That would be Carlos Gonzalez, the Colorado left fielder, 306 batter, 14 home runs, 36 runs batted in. He had the extended at bat, eventually drawing a walk against Sam LeCure after Sam had retired the first 2 in the 8th inning last night, in front of the Tulowitzki home run to left field that proved to be the game winner. LeCure had only given up 1 run over his prior 14 innings. There's a strike on the outside corner. League batting under 100 on the season prior to last night against LeCure. Just a hiccup. One to Gonzalez, and he's tardy on a fastball at 93 miles per hour. And now Villarreal ahead of Carlos Gonzalez at a ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs and nobody on, hoping to leave Tulowitzki right there. Ball hit hard, driven into deep left field, and it's 1-0 Colorado on a solo home run the other way by Gonzalez. Gonzalez, number 15, and the Rockies lead in the first inning 1-0.
Well, that's a good bit of inning right there by Carlos Gonzalez. I mean, that's also a welcome to the big leagues, young Pedro Villarreal. Gonzalez is one of the few major leaguers around who can go out the back door that easily. You don't see too many of those down in AAA. But this middle of the Rockies lineup has a couple of guys that can do just that.
And here's another, of course, that's Troy Tulowitzki. His only hit of the game last night came at the biggest time. In fact, his only hit of this series. That laser that cleared the wall in deep left center field with Gonzalez aboard. To Tulowitzki. And still, Villarreal has not thrown that breaking ball for a strike.
Well, you see where the pitch was. It went for a home run, and I mean, it's on the outer part of the plate, yes, but look at the height of that pitch. If you want to get a hitter out at this level, that pitch has got to be on the corner, but also down all around the knees. Thought he was going to save that gum.
2-2 to Tulowitzki.
Now, this is the count, really. If you're Pedro Villarreal, you want to come right after Tulowitzki. Throw every pitch in this at-bat to him a strike. You got down 2-0, came back, now have an even count. You don't want to go 3-2, where you have to throw a strike, or you feel like you have to throw a strike, because you've got a guy on deck that can also hurt you. So get a decision here on a 2-2 count.
Well, here it comes. Made a good pitch here.
He did.
Jam shot, short left field. It'll fall in a base hit. So after retiring the first two batters in the inning, Gonzalez is homered, and now Tulowitzki drops one into left field to keep the inning alive for Michael Kadire. Villarreal, we mentioned, drafted in 2008. Went to rookie ball, only pitched in a couple of games. The following year started in rookie ball and pitched very well. They bumped him up to single A at the time, Sarasota. Following year, win-loss record wasn't all that good, but the rest of the numbers were pretty impressive. That was with Dayton. Then he got moved up to Lynchburg. Only 5 starts there. But in 2011, Bakersfield for a short time, then to Double-A Carolina, before last year going Double-A Pensacola, Triple-A Louisville. He really had a hard time pitching at Louisville last year. A 3-12 record and an ERA of up over 4.5. Three consecutive base hits. Young Mr. Villarreal is searching for that final out here in the first inning.
He is, and you could see his shoulder slump. He made a good pitch on Tulowitzki and jammed him, and that ball just kind of fell right in front of the left fielder out there. And kind of a pained look on the face of Brian Price. You're just hoping that he's able to get somebody to make contact and hit it at somebody, just to kind of get in the dugout and take a deep sigh of relaxation. That's what you're looking for right here, and it's tough to relax with a couple runners on base in your first major league start in the first inning.
And while he may not be what Todd Helton used to be, it's still Todd Helton stepping in there to hit.
Todd Helton knows what he wants to do. He's had enough time to sit and watch Villarreal from the dugout, then the batting circle. So he's got a pretty good idea what Villarreal has as far as stuff and what he'd like to do with it.
2 on, 1 in, 2 out. 1-0 to Todd Helton. Just missed. 2-0. In the air, and this ought to do it. Helton hit off the end of the bat. And Bruce is there. Colorado with a run in the opening inning. Reds coming up against John Garland when we return. run in the first inning. Chu, Cozart, and Votto at the top. Jay Bruce in a cleanup spot again in the absence of Brandon Phillips. Todd Frazier at third and St. Paul out in left field. Batting sixth, the latter third of Jack Hanahan, Ryan Hannigan, and Pedro Villarreal. There was a time when John Garland was among the most durable and consistent pitchers in all of Major League Baseball, especially those years he was part of that White Sox rotation that won a World Series.
Now the Rockies are hoping to get a little bit out of John Garland this year. They've given him a bunch of starts. They signed him in March. John Garland was, and actually so late that he didn't make it into the Rockies media guide this year. But he steps on the mound to make career start number 342. He's logged more than 2,000 innings in the major leagues, mostly with the White Sox. A year with the Angels, Arizona in 2009. Then last year he missed the entire season as he recuperated from shoulder surgery. And you will see his delivery and you'll see his arm action, and it'll kind of give you an indication that he's had some shoulder problems.
Strike one to Shin-Soo Choo. Garland averaged over 32 starts, over 200 innings per year. Over an 8-year time frame. An American League All-Star in 2005. He was originally a first-round draft pick in '97 by the Cubs. Well, that White Sox rotation they had the year they won the World Series. Boy, were they good. That rotation dominated the Houston Astros in a 4-game sweep during that World Series. That one popped up over in foul ground, third base side, and that's out number one. Take a look at Colorado defensively, brought to you by your Ford dealers. Eric Young, his first start of the series. Arenado back in the lineup, started the opener. Herrera has started the last two. Willie Rosario back in the starting lineup. He is their regular catcher. Got a rare night off last night. What's amazing to look at Eric Young. That ball down the left field line towards the corner. And it's up against the wall, and Zach Cozart motors in with his 13th double of the season.
Cozart knew he better get going if he was going to try to make it to second base on Carlos Gonzalez. And if you were interested about Gonzalez's arm, he showed it to everybody in this ballpark right now. This ball goes right to the base of the wall, and it dies right there like a chula. And Gonzalez picks it up and throws it on a line right into second base. And if you're not hustling at Zach Cozart, you're going to be pegged out by Gonzalez, because this ball is on the money and a strong throw.
So now Joey Votto, 329 batter. He was up over 350 as recently as about a week and a half ago. 10 home runs and 28 runs batted in for Votto. Pirates lost earlier today. They were really handled by the Atlanta Braves, swept in that 3-game series. They were nearly no hit today. Of course, the Reds nearly no hit them on Friday night. That one back up the middle, off the glove of Tulowitzki, but right into his hand. And with a big shift defensively, it takes away a hit and an RBI for Votto. Like Tulowitzki had that one get his bare hand.
Yeah, you're not kidding. This ball really hit hard right through the wickets. I'm not really sure where he got it on his bare hand, actually, as I see that replay. He makes a nice recovery right there to stay with it. That's a great example of an infielder staying with it. You think you make an error, you don't hang your head and kick the ball around. You stay with it and see if you can make something out of nothing.
So now the Reds looking for a 2-out hit from Jay Bruce to tie this game. They have Cozart at third. And a breaking ball is low. 2-0.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a little pitch around right here by John Garland. Maybe to just kind of tease Jay Bruce, to get Bruce to try to maybe chase and hit one of his pitcher's pitches. We've got a right-hander, Todd Frazier, on deck. He knows Bruce has been hot. He's already seen Bruce nearly hit one into the river. Might take your chances of a guy that's seeing the ball big.
Three and 0 becomes 3-1 to Jay Bruce. Ozark the runner at third. 2 are out here in the Reds' first inning. Carlos Gonzalez homers in the top of the first, and now the Reds trying to answer. And there's ball 4 indeed to Bruce, and here comes Frazier with runners on the corners and 2 out. Kind of started to show signs here of late of coming out of that extended slump. He had a pair of doubles, knocked in a run, scored a couple of runs in the game here last night. Frazier had 2 hits in a series finale, or in the opening game of this series, I beg your pardon, also knocked in a run, and had 2 hits in a series finale on Sunday against Pittsburgh. In fact, he's gone 4 straight games where he's had 2 hits. And that batting average beginning to reflect his current hot streak. See, 9 for his last 20. He was down in the high 220s and now at 253 with 33 runs batted in. To center field, and Frazier has another hit and another RBI. It's a 1-1 game. Boy, he looks so much more confident up there right now.
Yeah, he does. He's got great plate coverage because he's not afraid to really throw his hands out there. Not always does his body go towards the outer part of the plate, but he always is able to keep his hands back to try to maybe spoil a really good pitch on the outer part of the plate. He did that the other night, drove in the game winner, and he drives a big run in right there. That's the kind of hit to give your confidence up a little bit. He'll even strut a little more to the plate next time.
Xavier Paul with Bruce at second and Frazier on at first. 275 batter, 3 home runs and 18 batted in. Paul, another guy who of late, when given a chance to play, and that's been on a pretty regular basis, as many of you know. Over his last 17 games, the overwhelming majority of those as a starter. He's been a .313 batter with 9 runs driven in. Breaking ball in the dirt. It is funny you brought up earlier. Not funny. You can't tell when a pitcher, unlike elbow surgery, it's not hard to watch a pitcher when they throw the ball to the plate to tell if they've had shoulder surgery.
Yeah. And that's one of the things you look at when you're thinking about signing a pitcher that's had shoulder surgery. Does he look like he's favoring it? And the bottom line is the way most surgeries, you know, you've got a torn muscle or something in there, then they're able to take that muscle, they'll either use staples or screws, but they'll reattach it, and you never quite have the flexibility that you had prior to surgery or prior to your injury. But you got to hand it to John Garland after 12 years in the major leagues. He's going to have that surgery and still battle to come back and try to pitch in the big leagues again. I mean, I'm sure that he's made enough money throughout his major league career that he could probably sit back and retire and, you know, watch the grass grow. He wants to compete.
A borderline strike there on a 2-0 pitch, but he got the call from Vic Carapazza. It's 2-1 on Xavier Paul. Fooled him there. Paul looking for a fastball, which never came.
Yeah, and you might look all night, and it may never come. I mean, if nothing else, Garland knows what he has right now, and he knows what hitters are up there looking for. And he may not be able to deliver it. But he certainly is not going to challenge you with your strength. And obviously, Xavier Paul's strength is hitting that piece of cheese.
Foul, sounded like he broke his back. He's taking a look at it. Apparently not. Bruce, a runner out at second base carrying the go-ahead run. Frazier knocked in the run a moment ago, plating Zach Cozart. He's over at first. Helton plays behind him over there with 2 outs and a 2-2 count on Paul. Ball 3, and now the runners get started. Fly ball into right center field, drifting back. Kadire, goodbye.
Now you can mark it down that Xavier Paul can also hit a breaking ball. You hang one right there, a little bit above the waist. He gets a good look at it, puts a nice easy swing on it, and the short portion right field is going to grab that one and turn it into a 3-run homer.
Paul home run number 4. That gives him 21 runs batted in on the season, and it gives the Reds, more importantly, a 3-run lead here in the bottom of the first inning, a 4 spot. 0-1 to Jack Canahan, who starts at second base for Brandon Phillips tonight. Tonight, not only his first start at second base as a Red, tonight is his first start ever at second base. He has played there one other time, and you have to go all the way back to his days playing for the Oakland Athletics in 2009. Ironically, it was against Colorado. Mr. Villarreal feel pretty good about things, but make no mistake about it. We know this Colorado team can hit, they can score, and we are only in the first inning. Strike 3 called. That'll end the bottom of the first, but a good bottom of the first. RBI single by Frazier to tie it, and then this with 2 aboard. Paul plays long ball. pushing himself for more in 2013. Ohio State bids farewell to Gordon Gee. And go to Game Connect to chat live with Hal McCoy right now. It's brought to you by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. Drive safe, spend less. Look across some mighty Ohio into the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and Xavier Paul capping off a 4-run first inning with a 3-run home run. Reds lead 4-1 for Pedro Villarreal. He'll face a ladder third in the Colorado batting order. He retired the first 2 in the first inning. Gave up a home run, 2 singles, but then got Helton on a pop-up. So the number 7 batter in their lineup is Willeen Rosario. Already 9 home runs and 28 runs batted in. This young man nearly hit 30 home runs as a rookie catcher last year. Saw there near the end of the top of the first, Villarreal started to find a little bit better feel on that breaking ball.
Well, you know, when you start hanging it and you're hanging it out of the zone, it's just a matter of being able to pull it down a little bit more. Make sure your release point stays down. And he's got a nice snap on it when he starts it down in the zone. Right there is a good example. They call it being stubborn with your stuff. Just because your breaking ball or your fastball or whatever it may be doesn't work first few times you throw it doesn't mean you put it in your pocket and forget about it. He's going to need that pitch, and he needs it located right there. Good job right there by Pedro Villarreal to get a strikeout. Second of the night.
Comes back with a fastball, strike 1 to Jonathan Herrera, who had 3 hits in a game last night, including a 2-run double in the Colorado 3-run second inning. The only 3 runs surrendered by Homer Bailey in his 7 innings of work. Certainly has grown windier as this game has gone on, blowing out almost a crosswind from right field to left field. 0-2, it remains on Herrera. Reds, of course, off tomorrow. There are tickets available for all 3 games in the Cardinal series. 7:10 Friday night, fireworks after the show. Saturday, a 7:15 start. Then a very late start on Sunday, 8:05. But again, that has been moved to a night game. Reds will be traveling very late that night on their way to Chicago. I guess the good news is, Chris, it's not a day game the following day against the Cubbies.
The other good news is it's only about a 40-minute flight from here to Chicago. It's not like you're flying a 2-hour flight somewhere and then you've got a long ride from the airport. Although the other good news is there won't be that typical Chicago traffic getting from O'Hare into downtown.
Never know about that, Doctor. 1-2. One can never be sure, because it is brutal. Brutal. Just missed. 2-2 on Herrera. It'll be an odd series in Chicago. Of course, they are limited right now anyway. They're trying to change all that as to the number of night games they're allowed to play in Wrigleyville. Pulled foul. So the Reds go in there. They play a night game Monday. They play a night game Tuesday. They play a day game Wednesday and a day game Thursday.
What do you prefer there at Wrigley Field? Night or day?
I like the night games. How about you?
I like the day games.
Do you?
We'll agree on something before the end of the night.
Sooner or later. No hurry to get there.
If we ever do.
Right. Been waiting 7 years now. It's no hurry. Well, now a lot of nibbling around here. You got ahead. No balls and 2 strikes on Herrera. Now the count has gone full.
A lot of people happy that they came on tonight. Matt Lato's bobblehead night tonight. They give about something like 20,000. 30,000 of them. He's got his mom and dad here at the ballpark tonight. Came up from Virginia. Matt did. First ever Matt Lato's bobblehead night. Giving it a good look.
Tenth pitch of the at bat is swung on and fouled back out of play.
Herrera had a pretty good night last night. 3 hits overall, including a double in the first inning where he picked up a couple RBIs.
Rockies have always felt like if this guy could ever stay healthy over a full season, that they would love to have him playing second base on a regular basis. But every year going back in his careers, here's a jam shot roller, and Hanahan, his first try of the night, takes care of his counterpart. Every year since 2007, Herrera has spent time on the disabled list. Every year. So now the pitcher, Garland, with 2 outs and nobody on. Saw 1 hit in 16 at bat so far this year for the longtime American leaguer. That ball is hammered into left center field, and that is up against the wall. So a 2-out double by the pitcher, Garland, and we roll back over to the top of the order.
Well, that ball sounded awfully good coming off the bat. Little 2-seam fastball that ran right into his wheelhouse, down and in.
Now Eric Young, breaking ball is too low. Young bounced out to the shortstop. Leading off the game, Reds 4, Colorado 1. We are only in the top of the second inning. Rockies have already had 4 base runners. The Reds had 4 base runners in the first. And the pitcher, Garland, just doubles with 2 out in the inning. Cozart once more will handle it. And that's all. A scoreless second, a hit, a man left. Reds 4, Rockies 1. at Great American Ballpark. You can do it day after tomorrow. And how about the game? Reds v. Cardinals. Have the great fireworks show after the game. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations, or you can log on to reds.com/tickets. Looking forward to having a full house all 3 games over the weekend. Reds and the Redbirds get together here in Cincinnati for the first time this season. Reds have already played both the Cardinals and the Pirates 6 times this year. And in each case, all 6 have been on the road. So that means both St. Louis and the Pirates have to come to Cincinnati for 3 series this season. And the Reds only have to go back there 1 more time. Ryan Hannigan leading off the Reds' 2nd inning. Hannigan had a nice night at the plate last night. Knocked in a couple of runs. Had a double at the time in the 4th inning, which tied the game. Reds had 3 hits and a walk, highlighted by run-scoring single from Frazier and a 3-run home run by Paul in the 4-run 1st inning against Garland. 8, 9, and 1 in the batting order here in inning number 2, and that ball hit very hard right at the 3rd baseman. 1 out. So now the first big league at bat for Pedro Villarreal. Tonight making his first major league start. If you're just tuning in, he pitched in 1 game, 1 perfect inning for the Reds last September.
You know, the Reds pitchers take batting practice every day. They take it about 4:30 in the afternoon, 4:20 or so, something like that. Who's the first guy out with a bat in his hand today? Guess. He's in the batter's box right now. I mean, normally the starting pitcher of that day really doesn't do that much about it. He may take some swings and so on, but Pedro looking for a knock.
Well, he had it played very shallow in center field, and that's where he hit it. Young came and got it. So now Chu fouled out to the 3rd baseman Arenado in the 1st inning. Bats for the 2nd time. 2 outs, nobody on. Ball 1. The Diamondbacks and the Cardinals are set to get started in about 20 minutes from now. Told you the Pirates lost again today. They are very fortunate they were able to get that win over the Reds on Sunday, or they would be staring down the barrel right now at a 6-game losing streak, because they were just swept in Atlanta. A roller at Herrera, and Garland bounces back from a bumpy 1st with a perfect 2nd. We go to the 3rd, 4-1 Reds.
Our current Sprint Cup Series champion in NASCAR, Brad Keselowski. And he is here promoting the Quaker State 400 coming up at the Kentucky Speedway. And I am now with Brad Keselowski here in the Fox Sports Ohio suite. And you just giggled right there. Was there a lot of pressure on the mound as much as in a race car?
Yes. You know, as a driver or someone in any other sport but baseball, really all you can do is screw that up. So I'm just glad I didn't screw it up. I got it over the plate and got to throw it to my good friend Tony Pike. I've known Tony for a little while, and I'll take it.
Very nice. NASCAR's been going to the older tracks forever, Daytona, Talladega, Darlington, Martinsville, etc. Kentucky Speedway new on the scene. Is it nice to have a new fan base? Seems to breathe some life into the series.
Yeah, it's great to be in this market, you know, the Cincinnati area. You know, Dayton is one of the most popular markets for NASCAR. So, you know, I got a lot of family in that area, too, which makes it a lot of fun for me. And, of course, winning, like you're seeing there, that makes it fun, too.
You won last year's Quaker State 400. You like the track, I assume?
Love the track. It's rough. It's a little bumpy, but it's got a lot of character and really brings out, you know, a certain driver characteristics that I seem to like.
Now, you are known as the reigning Sprint Cup Series champion, but before that, you were most known for tweeting inside the car in the Daytona 500. Do people still ask you, like me, ask you about that? Because you got lots of Twitter followers that night.
Yes, they do. You know, I was having fun. I was, you know, getting a few phone numbers from different girls on Twitter and tweeting out pictures of the race and the wrecks. But don't worry, we were stopped. So I know there's some mom out there watching like, you were tweeting and driving. No, we were actually stopped. But we did have a lot of fun, and I'm having a lot of fun tonight watching the Reds and winning 4-1. I like winning.
Yes, I know you do like winning. Last question, what do you think about baseball? You a baseball fan? I know you're from Michigan. Can I assume you're a Tigers fan?
Yeah, I definitely have some Tigers love going on, but, you know, I really just enjoy all of baseball. And, you know, my favorite part about baseball is just the people watching and being at the actual game itself. I love being at the games because baseball's got a lot of great-looking women in the stands, and I don't think it gets enough credit for that. So people watching of the great-looking women, I highly recommend that.
Excellent. I'm assuming you are very single. I got an eligible bachelor here, Tom and Chris, and we'll go back upstairs.
I tell you, JD, we'd have never guessed that.
Never guessed. Oh, by the way, the Quaker State 400 is Sunday, the 29th, coming up, and it's actually Thursday through Sunday. Got a truck race, nationwide race, and the big boys racing on Sunday. So tickets available. Hope people go out to the track.
Man. Leadoff single, meanwhile, by Arenado, and here comes Gonzalez, who homered his first time up. Are they going to get him this time? They are. Carlos just now getting out of that batter's box. He's none too pleased with that AB.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you get jammed by the pitcher. Other times you jam yourself. I think that's what Carlos is thinking as he's dragging that wood back to the dugout with him. I mean, he just went out after that ball, and he gets it right on the trademark rather than the sweet spot, and he's not sure where it is. Now he finds it, and he can't believe it. Frazier's going to put it away, and just like that, first out of the inning.
So now Tulowitzki, who singled into left field. Little jam shot single by Tulowitzki in that first inning. One on, one out. Reds with a 4-1 lead. Pedro Villarreal making his first major league start here tonight. Gave up the home run to Gonzalez in the first inning. And this one is hit high and far into left field. And it is a one-run game. Well, Tulowitzki did not have a hit through his first 7 at-bats in this series. And now has 3 in a row, including a pair of 2-run home runs. That guy at the shortstop position puts up some major league numbers.
You can see just where that ball floated into Tulowitzki's zone. The ball he hit off of Sam LeCure last night was up around his eyes. He tomahawked that baby out of there. He's showing me, for a guy that stands very tall in the batter's box and holds the bat high, he can turn on that high pitch.
You can tell he is a powerfully built young man. In fact, they said after the game last night, the beat writers that follow the Colorado Rockies and some local writers here that went down to get a few words from Tulowitzki after the game last night were waiting nearly 40 minutes, because as soon as the game was over last night, he was in pumping iron and swimming to get in his workout after the game, a game which he had just hit a 2-run home run to win it.
Well, that's how much the game has changed. If you go back to the day, I mean, just pick up Ted Williams, the days of Ted Williams. Could you imagine Ted Williams after a ball game doing that?
No.
I mean, none of them did that back then. Even as few as a dozen years ago, you never heard of that after the game. And the Reds have a whole bunch of them that are disciples of lifting weights after the ball game, getting your road work in, whatever it is. I mean, these guys are really well-conditioned athletes.
Tapper at Kozar, and he'll throw out Kadire for the second out here in the inning.
Well, if anything, nothing else, Pedro Villarreal has got to tell himself, I've got to live down in the zone. I just have to be down around the knees. I'm not going to get away with mistake pitches here like you may get away with down in Louisville, although you don't get away with too many down there in AAA anymore, but far fewer here. And I think that was the biggest change that Mike Leake has made this year, is that he's simply, when he's missing down, and he's missing off the plate rather than in the center of the hot zone.
Well, if you're just tuning in and didn't hear the news, Johnny Cueto was placed on the disabled list before the game today, retroactive to his last start on Friday night. You know, one thing we failed to mention, even though it is the same thing that bothered him the last go around, the Reds were very quick to point out that they did all of the tests imaginable to see if there is any structural damage in his arm running through the triceps area and into the side, the lat area, and apparently there is zero structural damage. So they feel like he misses a start tonight. He misses one more start. And the day that he is able to come off the disabled list, which will be that weekend when the Reds get home from Chicago a week from tomorrow, that he will go right into the starting rotation. No rehab starts, none of that kind of thing. He will continue to be with a team. He'll do his throwing, his bullpen sessions as he normally would. So I guess, Chris, if there is good news, that would be it.
And I think that's a lot of good news right there. I mean, that's the worst thing you fear, is that you show something in the MRI that's going to require either an extended stay on the list or maybe surgery. So anytime you take a test like that and they take a look inside, they say, hey, there's really no problem, we're going to give you a couple of weeks. Hopefully Johnny Cueto will come back stronger and focused like he was during his last start against the Pirates. Man, you talk about pitching lights out that day.
He was something else Friday night.
At a no-no.
Should have had a no-no. If he got that call on that 2-strike pitch to Brandon Inge, that could have easily been strike 3 called. Because the very next pitch, Inge took that, wasn't even a half swing. It was like a 2/3 swing. And just hit a little floater into left field for the only Pirate hit of the night. Pirates were nearly no hit again today. In fact, they had one hit again, and guess who had it? Brandon Inge. Re-ant to the count on Helton. Villarreal already 60 pitches in the game. We're in the 3rd inning. And there's another base hit. Seven hits in the game so far for Colorado in 2 2/3 innings.
You know, you get so spoiled watching the Reds starting pitchers all year long. you're running guys out there from 1 through 5, and at this point in the season, you can't even tell who number 5 is. I mean, you would say Mike Leake. Well, he's on about the best roll of any of the 5 starters there are. So you get spoiled. So you have to go to the bullpen, or I mean, the minor leagues to get an emergency starter, and it's hard to reach the kind of level that these guys have been giving you all year long.
And you brought up earlier, Chris, it would have been obviously Tony Cingrani again back to the major leagues, but he just pitched a couple of days ago.
And really had his worst start of the season down in AAA 2 days ago. Cingrani did. He pitched 7 innings, gave up 3 runs, didn't walk anybody, and struck out 9. To me, that's a calling home kind of outing.
1-1 to Rosario. As always, coming up later on in the broadcast, we'll have our Miller Time moment. A few folks out on the river tonight. Good night for it. Perfect night for it. Off the end of the bat, and Chu will get there to retire Rosario, and an end to the 3rd inning. 2-run home run by Tulowitzki, and the Reds lead down to 1. Well, 1-800-ELK Ohio. The Bengals were over here today. Head coach Marvin Lewis and many of the players taking a little BP this afternoon. And then they got showered up. They went on a tour of the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum. There's Marvin. Look at all those guys. Those are some big men. Of course, the Reds and the Bengals have started to work a lot more closely together here in recent years. The last couple of years, once more, they will have a pair of occasions when the Bengals start training camp stadium, and then there'll be another time where they're going to have an afternoon practice session, and you come right over here for a night game. They call it, I think they call it the ultimate fan experience. It's Cozart Tomahawk 1-5.
They did that last year a few times with great success.
And I mean, you're a guy that loves Cincinnati sports, and maybe you got your kids, or you and some of your buddies. That's a great day.
It is. Of course, and now they have all the restaurants and establishments down on the banks. Stay down here, grab a bite to eat.
Reds batting here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. 4-3. Some of the guys from Colorado, they're in their traveling party. We're sitting down at dinner last night. And my dad and I were just sitting there, and two of the guys looked over, totally unsolicited, and said, "Man, this downtown has really got it going on." I said, "Well, you know, we're talking about they went over to Main Street and over on Vine Street and all those kinds of places, which of course have undergone an unbelievable explosion here in the last couple of years." And then I asked them if they'd been over to the banks, and they said, "I don't even know what you're talking about." So then they went over there last night, came back again today, same group, walked over to us and said, "Cannot believe it." I said, "Well, you ought to see it on the weekend." Two delivery, and back up through the middle off the glove of Garland, but right at Herrera, and that'll take care of Cozart to begin the Reds' third with a 1-run lead.
Well, you know, the area right around Coors Field was one of the first areas. You know, Coors Field is one of the oldest new ballparks around. And what they did is they put that ballpark in an old warehouse area where there really wasn't much going on in the world of real estate. And they sank the ballpark down about 3 or 4 stories so that you can walk up onto the street and just look straight down. Very similar to what they did here at Great American Ballpark. And they surrounded the entire area with all sorts of, you know, restaurants and places to go before and after the game. You can get food of every different type. Music on weekends, live music and otherwise. And it became a real party place right around the ballpark. And it became a model that a lot of ball clubs wanted to emulate. And the Reds are finally beginning to see their product finished, or close to being finished up here with all the stuff that is now open and going.
Now these guys just went on and on and on and on about it, talking about how much has been happening just even over the last couple of years. With so much going on.
They're also appreciative of the weather. You remember last year when the Rockies came to town, it was one of those sweltering little times of summer that Cincinnati gets, about 2 weeks worth, where they warn you to stay inside. And they were very happy that they came in with temperatures this week just being about perfect.
Yeah, not about it. It has been perfect. 3-0 now to Votto. Temperatures in the low 70s, mid 70s. Very little, if any, humidity. I mean, tonight again is just spectacular. Votto on a 3-0 pitch fouls one off his right front foot, and he's limping around the home plate area. Well, Paul Lessard, the Reds trainer, still standing in that dugout. He's debating whether to come out. Right off the top of the foot.
You know, back in the old days, the trainer would come out there with that freeze spray.
Well, you like that stuff.
I love that stuff, and I wonder what happened to it. Maybe we ought to do a tech talk on the disappearance of the freeze spray, whatever it was called. I don't know. But you could chill down some beverages in a hurry with that stuff. You could get it out of the trainer's little first aid kit without him knowing it. And then somebody pounds the ball off his foot, and he's looking for it, and he can't find it. That's when you hide.
3-1 delivery. He just did it again. Or did he get his foot or the ground that time? Ground that time. Or maybe he got the toe again. He did. 3-2 to count on Votto. And this one back to the mound. 2 up, 2 down for Garland here in the third. Well, you know the drill. If a Red hits a home run off that Toyota sign inside the power stacks during our game tonight, Richard K. Hall will win the Tundra. Right there. Register for your chance to win in an upcoming game by visiting your Cincinnati or Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Richard K. Hall from all the way out in Georgetown. I'm assuming that's Georgetown, Ohio. As there is at Georgetown, Kentucky.
Yes, there is.
Ohio. That is the home of Lonesome George Vogel.
I think Jeff Shaw's from Georgetown, or he's from Washington Courthouse.
Washington Courthouse.
Okay. Lonesome George.
What a guy. One of the best guys you'll ever meet.
I never knew that was his nickname.
Yes. Lonesome George. That one pulled to the right side. Helton will glove it and feed the covering Garland, and that's all in the third. We go to the fourth. Reds lead Colorado 4-3. To by Toyota. See your Toyota dealer. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places. And by JTM Food Group. Let's create great dishes together. Of course, Cincinnati-based companies over there. Macy's, Fifth Third. And that's a look at Fountain Square. Right in the heart of it all. Boy, now there's a place over the weekend where it'll be going on. So Villarreal facing 8-9-1 in the Colorado batting order. He was given a 4-1 lead at the end of an inning. Then he gave up a 2-run home run to Tulowitzki in the third, so a 1-run game. Herrera bounced out to second after an extended at bat, an 11-pitch at bat. His first time up.
Now, what Pedro really ought to concentrate on right here is retiring Herrera, and then you've got the pitcher Garland up. Because if you lose one of these two guys, you start turning that lineup over. Now that the Rockies have seen him a couple of times, the job gets a little bit tougher. Got to tell yourself, this is the guy I need right here.
Not a good way to get it started here. He's fallen behind Herrera. 3-0. Frazier in on the grass at third. Herrera had a bunt hit last night. And a 4-pitch walk to the number 8 batter.
Now, despite hitting a double his first time up, they're looking for a bunt from Garland. Todd Frazier playing in very, very close. Now, Herrera can run a little bit, so getting that lead runner may not be all that easy.
Garland shortens up on the bat. And bunts it. Straight back foul. You saw him sort of stab at it there.
Now, anytime you drop the bat head like that, chances are you're going to foul it off or pop it up.
Swings away. Hanahan for one. And that's a double play. Well, he hit that ball hard, too.
Now, they wanted to stay out of the double play, and they wanted to stay out of the easy strikeout the way that Garland did not look like he was comfortable laying a bunt down. So they let him do the old butcher boy, and he hits it right at the second baseman. You know, if you're going to do that play off a guy that you can probably make some contact with, you got to just go ahead and send the runner. That way you at least stay out of the double play, and you get something that will resemble a good sacrifice bunt. Now you run into the chance of maybe a guy swings through the pitch and then to throw him out double play. But I'd have to take my chances there. I would just that play can backfire unless you put the runner in motion.
So now Eric Young for the third time. Each of his first two trips he bounced out to the shortstop Kozai. Pitch taken up and away, a ball. It's really amazing. Walt Weiss, I think a shock to everybody when he was named the manager of this team, was a special assistant to the general manager from '94 to '97. That one swung on and fouled back out of play. Or a Colorado Rocky '94 to '97 after he finished playing. He was a member of the major league coaching staff for a while. He dressed for each home game and then assisted in a variety of aspects for then manager Clint Hurdle, including time spent in their player development system. Young trying to bunt his way on, and following his stint as a special assistant, he was first an assistant coach and then a head coach at Regis Jesuit High School in Aurora, Colorado. 1 year the head coach there. He spent more time on the football staff there than he did the baseball staff. 3 years a football assistant coach. But the Rockies made the decision after they let Jim Tracy go that Walt Weiss was their guy. And you'd have to say so far so good. 3 games over the 500 mark, 2.5 behind the front running Arizona Diamondbacks in the NL West. By the way, Arizona and St. Louis are in a rain delay right now. They were scheduled to start about 15 minutes ago. One and two again to Eric Young off the inside corner.
Well, they've got some real serious Cincinnati connections on that Colorado Rockies staff. We talked about Bo McLaughlin last night, went to Amelia High School. Tommy Runnels is the bench coach. He's spent parts of a couple of different years here with the Reds back in like 1985 and 86. Dante Bichette is the hitting coach. There's Dante. Hey, what? He was one guy that used to feast on some Reds pitching back in the day. Part of the Blake Street Bombers.
Boy. Got ahead 1-2 on Young. You end up walking him. So now the inning continues for Arenado. It's interesting. You look down in that Colorado bench, and, you know, I'm not even going to say some old school people. I don't think you have to be old school to kind of feel this way. You know, you look up and down their bench, a lot of guys sitting on their bench without a hat on, including their manager a moment ago, Walt Weiss, not wearing a hat. Their hitting coach, Dante Bichette.
That's Tommy Runnels right there.
You look down in the Reds bench, and there is no one, at least those you can see along the front rail of their bench, that do not have their hat on. That's a trainer, Paul Lassard. The trainers do not wear helmets, and there you see Stevie Bauman, but there's Michael Kadire on the left, Dante Bichette on the right. There are some managers that are fanatical about that kind of thing. Feeling if you're in uniform, that's part of the uniform code, put on a hat. A couple of more guys. Helton there in the background.
You know, you're sounding a little bit older every day. Guys don't do it like that anymore.
There's a lot of things. I care about what they do. I was just making a point. There are some people that care about it, and there's some that don't.
Well, I mean, you know,
I guarantee you the Reds have some kind of a policy down there just looking at their bench where if guys are in sight, that they're asking guys to put on hats.
Well, they don't wear the uniforms like they used to.
Right.
Used to show Red Sox back in the day. Now it looks like most guys are, you know, look like pants that are eating their shoes. They're so long. Some of the guys even wrap their pants down around the back heel of their cleats. I'm with you on the hat, though. I think you ought to wear a hat. Now, if a guy is in the dugout in between innings and he's just hit or getting ready to hit, he can take his hat off and let his head breathe a little bit.
Trouble brewing here. There's a single in the left center field that'll send Young first to third. And now you have to face Carlos Gonzalez. All of that after a 2-out walk to Eric Young.
He had a pretty good lick on the ball the first inning when he got a pitch up and out over the plate to Carlos Gonzalez, and he deposited it promptly into the left field bleachers. That came on a 2-2 pitch that went the other way. He did pop up on the first pitch he saw his last time up in foul territory to Todd Frazier. I can't figure that Pedro Villarreal is feeling real comfortable right now. Look at the on-deck circle. Troy Tulowitzki standing in there. A couple of very tough hitters.
Well, he's walked 2 batters in the inning, allowed a hit.
It's where you tell yourself, I got to make a pitch. That was a good pitch right there. And not only make the pitch, but you tell yourself, if I don't make the pitch exactly where I want it, here's where I'm going to miss. I'm not going to miss down the middle of the plate and let Carlos Gonzalez hit one out of here. I'm going to miss off the plate. I'm going to miss down. I'm going to miss in a spot where he can't hurt me.
Reds clinging to a 4-3 lead. Not much longer. That one headed for the Ohio River. That's one of the longest home runs we've seen in a long time in this ballpark.
Yeah, he wanted it
to right center.
And Hannigan set up way inside right there. That ball just went right down the middle.
So a 2-out walk to Eric Young. Then a single by Arenado and a 3-run home run by Carlos Gonzalez.
Now you see where you want it in, and this is exactly what I talked about before the pitch was made. You got to know where you're going to miss. It would be better to hit Carlos Gonzalez in the ribs than to leave one out over the plate. You hit him in the ribs, he goes to first base. You haven't scored a run yet. got a feeling we're going to see some more scoring in this ball game before it's all said and done by both teams.
One in the Rockies first, 4 in the Reds first, 2 in the Colorado third on a home run by Tulowitzki, and now a 3-run home run by Gonzalez as Andrusik begins to crank it up. Colorado 6 runs on 9 hits. And a broken bat single into right by Tulowitzki. All of a sudden the Reds can't get him out. Well, apparently that is going to be all for Mr. Villarreal. Andrusik will come on and try and get the final out of the inning. This will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. We are in the 4th, and Colorado holds a 6-4 lead. America's new 24-hour sports network, Fox Sports 1, will be your home for great live sports, all the news and highlights you want, and shows and specials that only Fox can bring you. America's new sports network is Fox Sports 1, and it's coming on August the 17th. Colorado's come all the way back from a 4-1 deficit, 5 unanswered runs. And the night is over for Villarreal as Logan Andrusik now takes over on the mound.
Now the big 6'8" right-hander comes into the ball game, and he's got a runner on base. It's 19 or 20 times now for Andrusik. He's not pitched since May the 29th, so it's been a few days for Andrusik out there. And I would imagine at this point in the ball game, coming in here in the 4th inning, that Dusty Baker is going to rely on Andrusik to go more than just 1 inning. Maybe give him a little bit of a middle relief stint right here that covers 2 or 3.
Give me an idea about how long it has been for Andrusik. That was his 2nd game of the Indian series since he last towed the road. He did not pitch at all in that extra inning game on Sunday.
But in Pittsburgh, he didn't pitch in the Pittsburgh series. Didn't pitch, and actually going back beyond that, he pitched on the 26th of May previous to that. So he's only had 1 stint out there in a while, so you got to figure he's got a fresh arm.
If I'm not mistaken, that game on the 26th, you tell me, that was a game he gave up the 3-run home run.
He did, yeah, pitched 2/3 an inning.
When the Reds, back-to-back Sundays, they have had just killer losses. That was that Sunday against the Cubs where they were going for the sweep. This one in the air. Off the bat of Kadire, and that will be all in the Colorado 4th, but damage done. 475-foot home run by Gonzalez. Being brought to you by Kia. Look up the Ohio River and beautiful night. All right, Mr. Welch, time for our AT&T trivia question tonight. Name the 5 National League teams never to have a first pick in a June Major League Baseball draft.
That's a pretty good question.
That is a good question.
Now, when did the draft come around? When was the first draft?
I believe
70s,
it was
right?
it was
65.
Yeah, Rick Monday, I believe,
Rick Monday
was the
man there. Okay. So we're talking about since 1965.
Slow roller to the right side, and Herrera on the second pitch here in the bottom of the 4th inning retires Frazier.
I don't look now, but John Garland is mowing him down. That's 8 in a row for Garland. I mean, it looked like he wasn't going to have a hard time getting out of the first inning. Gave up a double, a walk, a single, and then a 3-run homer to this guy, Xavier Paul.
Well, you know, we've talked so much about high school baseball and how Moeller and Baden have advanced on, and they'll have the state baseball semifinals coming up this weekend. I believe Moeller is playing Friday, and if they win, they would play in the Division I state championship on Saturday. Likewise for Baden. Of course, lacrosse, you and I were talking about lacrosse before the game. That is becoming a very popular sport all over Cincinnati, and I am proud to announce that the Marymount Warriors tonight in the state semifinals, Division II Ohio High School semifinals, beat Columbus DeSales, and they will play in a state championship game this weekend.
Wow! Congratulations to the Warriors. That's big news in Marymount.
That is big news. Head coach Steve Peterson, boy, what an unbelievable program he runs out there in that Marymount area. So congratulations to the Warriors.
And congratulations to the Moeller Crusaders. Ron Roth was telling us the other day that Moeller has now been in the Final Four in baseball, what, 4 of the last 5 years?
5, 6.
5 of 6.
Yep. They said that this senior class, and they don't start adding these numbers in until their sophomore year. If they get a guy that makes a team as a sophomore, this senior class has won 100 games and lost 9.
Wow. And they play a good schedule.
They do. Tim Held, of course, the head coach there now. That one hooked down the right field line into the corner off the bat of Hanahan. He better get. Kadyr's got a good arm, and it's slightly offline. And that'll be a 2-out double for Hanahan. Ending a string of 9 straight retired by Garland.
Well, I mentioned that perhaps Logan Ondrusek would be called upon to pitch more than 1 inning. That may not be the case if the Reds are able to keep this inning alive. That's a good stroke by Hanahan. Like a lot of left-handers, he likes that wheelhouse down and in. And the reason I say that is that Alfredo Simon is now throwing and warming up down the Reds bullpen. That's just in case warm-up action right there.
Strike 1 to Hanigan. One and one to Hanigan. Reds down a pair. We're only in the bottom of the 4th inning, and that one hooked foul way out in front. Flipped up there at 76 miles per hour. You want to hear about an unbelievable game going on? The White Sox and the Mariners played 13 innings today. No score. Each team scored 5 runs in its half of the 14th inning.
What are the odds?
Oh, they're now in the 15th inning. Wow. One and two the count. Hanigan knocked in a pair last night, and he just missed getting another one right there up the third base line. That's where one of his RBIs came last night, right up the third base line.
What do you think Willeen Rosario just went out there to say to John Garland?
You've been out there. What do you think?
Down the left field line. You seeing your fastball pretty good?
Yep, so he came back with a breaking ball.
You could be telling what Steve Swisher used to tell me. You got nothing tonight, man. Do your third baseman a favor and don't pitch him inside.
Well, that's cold.
He's just telling the truth. What he would say. You got to lighten it up a little bit out there too sometimes. But still, Hanigan seeing the ball very well.
In the air left field. That'll back up Gonzalez, but not far enough. A third consecutive scoreless inning against Garland for the Reds.
let's give you an update on Brandon Phillips. He told me before today's game that he went to tell Dusty Baker that he is available to pinch hit tonight. Yesterday he said it was an emergency situation. Fielding is the problem for him right now. He can't fully extend that arm that was hit by a pitch in Pittsburgh, but he said it felt much better in the field today. He is available to pinch hit, and he also told me something pretty funny. He said that throughout his career, he plays mostly every game, and he's always made fun of people in the dugout, the reserves, that are always eating in the dugout. So these guys are always eating everything. Well, he figured out now that he no longer makes fun of those guys, because last night he said it's so boring not playing in the game that he ate zebra cakes, Little Debbie snacks. He had some Krispy Kreme donuts, and he said, thank goodness we're off tomorrow because I might gain 10 pounds. But expect him back in the starting lineup on Friday for the Cardinals, guys.
Well, the Reds miss him. I mean, there's no two ways about that. They miss his glove, and they really miss his bat in the middle of that lineup. I mean, you could make a very strong argument, and I really don't know. It's not to say that there aren't other options, but at least so far this season, you would be hard-pressed to say there has been a better player on the Reds team than Brandon Phillips.
On both sides of the baseball, you mean, yeah. I mean, it's a given that he saves defensively more runs than just about any other player I can name. I mean, there are other good defensive players, but he plays in a position where he covers so much ground and he gets the balls that other second basemen don't. And he's driving them in at an unprecedented rate.
Well, when he went down with the injury, he was, of course, leading the league in runs batted in. Paul Goldschmidt, I believe at last check, of the Arizona Diamondbacks, is a guy who is the league leader in that category now with 49. He is. And Tulowitzki is right behind him with a 2 tonight at 47, then Brandon at 45. Andrusik came on to get the final out in the 4th inning. Pedro Villarreal, his first major league start, 10 hits, 6 runs, all earned. There's a weak roller at second. 1 out. And now we answer our AT&T trivia question tonight, going back to the first draft in '65. 5 teams have never had the first pick. Who are they? The 2 here tonight. Los Angeles, I assume we're talking about the Dodgers. There we are. The Giants and the Cardinals.
How about that? Now, of course, in order to have the first pick, the way the draft works is that they take the worst record in the league, and then in baseball, and then you're allowed to draft number 1. So those 5 teams, as you've seen, have never had the worst record.
You know, the one thing I've never understood, and I'm sure there's a perfectly logical explanation for it, but I've always wondered why baseball doesn't allow you to trade picks. Because to my knowledge, they never have allowed that.
I think they do that to protect the small market teams.
In the air, short left field. 2 out in the inning. But let me ask you though, but theoretically, couldn't a smaller market team, you know, if you were trading, say, the number 1 pick or the 2nd or 3rd pick, and you were a team obviously coming off a bad year the year before,
right?
And that's no guarantee that you're going to be a small market team, but I mean, basically, when you look at the last 4, 5, 6, 7 teams of any given year, most of them would be mid-market or small market teams. Not everyone, but most times. Boston had a terrible year last year. They're drafting in the top 10 this year. But say you have that pick, and you want multiple players instead of maybe just one guy, and you say, heck, I'll take the Reds. They want to trade me 4 players. maybe a couple of single-A players, a double-A player, and a triple-A player that could help my major league team right now or in the not-too-distant future for that one pick. But they don't allow it.
Well, what if in the case of let's just use the Yankees as an example of a big market team that can spend the money, and they go to the Padres. And this is a year in which, well,
let's come back to this.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 innings. This is interesting to talk about.
Don't forget now. We'll come back.
I might forget. I'm good at that. With new low yearly prices, visit MLB.tv today. MLB.tv is baseball everywhere. Colorado leading the Reds 6-4 as the Reds come to bat here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. I want to pick this up before I forget about it. Now, it was explained to you the reason that baseball doesn't allow, say, teams to trade players for a draft pick.
I could be dead wrong in this, but the way it was explained to me is the same big market team like Yankees went to a small market team like the Padres. And it was a year in which there was a can't-miss #1 player. A Ken Griffey Jr., Alex Rodriguez, one of these kids that you just know, barring a major injury, the kid is going to be a stud major leaguer. And usually, if you look through a history, that #1 pick is usually a guy that pans out. And they go to the Padres and say, we're going to trade, we want your #1 pick, and we'll trade you these 2 guys, decent players, and $10 million, and we'll take that pick. Then they do the same thing the next year with the Seattle Mariners. We want your #1 pick, Ken Griffey Jr. this year.
On a 10 by Robinson, and he is out. 1 pitch, 1 out. Robinson batting for Andrusik, who gives him a solid, perfect inning and a third.
And what it does is protects those teams that aren't involved in those trades. If you're the one that gets involved, you're getting what you want. You're getting the players and maybe the money, and you go on from there. But if you're another small market team that now has to pick the 4th or 5th round and sign that guy, or else your farm system is going to be suffering. I think that's the reason why they don't do that. I think it would be interesting if they were to do it, though. And maybe with the way that the luxury tax is in place now, they could probably figure out a way to allow certain trades of certain picks. In fact, I'm not even. I'd have to check the new agreement rules, but I'm not so sure that you can trade a player after his first year of being signed. I think you have to wait a year.
I think you're right.
So you can't sign him right away and sign him in June 1st and trade him July 1st, which would be quite a bit like trading a pick. Now, what you can do, which is I think is kind of unusual in the Rule 5 draft, is that you can trade those picks immediately. That's how the Reds end up with Josh Hamilton. They slipped an envelope to the Chicago Cubs on the day of the Rule 5 draft with a prearranged agreement that the Cubs, who were going to pick higher in the Rule 5 draft than the Reds, so the Reds didn't want to take a chance that Hamilton wouldn't be there when their pick came around, so they went to the Cubs, who were drafting very high, and said, here, you draft this guy, and through a prearranged arrangement, we're going to either pay you money for this pick or we're going to trade you something for this pick. And the Cubs looked at the draft and evidently didn't see anybody in there that they wanted, so they made an agreement to trade Josh Hamilton after they picked up to the Reds.
Hard hit ball to Tulowitzki, but he makes a play. And well, I tell you what, John Garland making it look easy right now. 2 down in the inning. Here at Fox Sports, we're so proud to team up with Feeding America, a nationwide network of food banks that helps feed more than 37 million people in this country each year, whether it's through pantries, soup kitchens, shelters. Visit feedingamerica.org/Fox Sports to learn how you can fight hunger in your community. Together, we're Feeding America. Garland has really settled in. He has only allowed 1 hit since giving up 3 hits and 4 runs in the first inning. We are in the bottom of the 5th, and the Rockies have come back from a 4-1 deficit with 5 unanswered runs. A game Johnny Cueto was to have started, but the same injury that put him on the DL early in the year is back to get him again. So Pedro Villarreal makes his first major league start, and it was not a long one or an effective one. Inning over, 1-2-3 go the Reds, and we go to the 6th with Colorado leading by 2. Summary. Reds fell behind 1-0 on a home run the other way, 3rd batter of the game by Carlos Gonzalez. But the Reds, a 4 spot in the bottom of the inning, highlighted by a 3-run home run from Xavier Paul. It's been all Colorado since then. 2-run home run by Tulowitzki in the 3rd inning. Then after a 2-out walk and a single, it was Gonzalez. 475 feet from home plate. We talked about Jay Bruce's home run down the right field line the other night that went 5 rows from the top of the seats out there. That ball Gonzalez hit went 4 rows from the top row of the seats, but in the deepest part of right center field. He almost hit that BB riverboat.
Now, a new pitcher for the Reds is Alfredo Simon, the 3rd right-hander. The Dusty Bakers run out tonight. Pedro Villarreal started. Logan Ondrusek last inning in the 3rd, and now Simon.
Fredo, that lengthy appearance his last time out. So he's had what, Monday, Tuesday, and now here he is in the game on Wednesday night. That's when he got the loss after nearly 3 innings of work. And Garland, who had 1 hit all year, has his 2nd hit of the game tonight. Ohio's lottery Powerball jackpot now up to $50 million. That's tonight, the drawing, and it's at 11 o'clock. So good luck. Well, the rain delay is over in St. Louis. They're finally underway. They played 14 innings last night. Reds will see Adam Wainwright, their ace, on Friday. Young butts and foul. Get a look at young left-hander Tyler Lyons on Saturday night. And then 8-1 right-hander Lance Lynn starts the game on Sunday night. Reds will counter with Latos Arroyo. I don't know about you, Chris. I'm a little surprised Young is bunting with a pitcher running at first base.
I am too. He didn't look comfortable doing that. He chased the pitch up out of the strike zone right there. He's grounded out twice to the shortstop. It swings right over that slider.
Well, Pedro Villarreal will look back on a lot of things that did not go well tonight, but you know, perhaps Eric Young's at bat will be right near the top of the list. There were 2 out and nobody on, and the Reds had a 4-3 lead in the 4th inning. They just hit a double play. Remember, Garland bounced into a double play, and then up came Eric Young, and Villarreal was ahead of him, 1 ball and 2 strikes. He walked him.
Yeah, that was after he led the inning off, Villarreal, that is, with a 4-pitch walk to the number 8 hitter. Then he gets Garland in a double play ball. It's like, whoo, okay, now I'm going to settle back down here. And when he lost Young on the base on balls, it did, yeah. Then you bring up the real tough hitters in this lineup.
Well, they're going to advance a runner on the slow bouncer to the right side. Garland into scoring position, 1 out. Nolan Arenado, he had that base hit after the walk to Young, which allowed Carlos Gonzalez to come to the plate in the 4th before Gonzalez hit his 2nd home run of the game.
Boy, nice pick right there by Ryan Hannigan. If he doesn't pick that ball, it goes to the screen, and it makes it awfully easy to plate him. I mean, he just backhands this ball like it's nothing.
Stayed with it. That was not an easy play, and a good play by Hanahan for out number 2 in the inning.
Jack Hanahan is known for his glove work. There's no question about that. And this ball is kind of cute off the end of the bat. We're going to call it our John Morrell hot dog play of the game. Takes a funny little hop, and Hanahan goes back on his backside to be able to finally flag that baby down and still get his man.
Second time in the last 4 days Carlos Gonzalez has hit 2 home runs in a game. Got the Dodgers over the weekend. A solo home run to left field his first time up tonight. Fouled out to third in the third before hitting that bomb way back into right center field against Villarreal in the 4th inning.
Pitch, Carlos Gonzalez looking fastball. That's a changeup right there across the top of the strike zone.
Tulowitzki waiting. 3-1 on Gonzalez. We are only in the top of the 6th inning. Colorado with a 2-run lead, and that was.
Oh, man. They weren't expecting that up there.
No, not over there.
If you're wondering if Carlos Gonzalez, who's had 2 home runs on the night, had ever had a 3 home run game, he had one last year. A little more than a year ago. On the 30th of May against the Astros.
This guy's some kind of talent, man. Saw him as a very young player coming up through the Arizona Diamondbacks organization. And he's gone swinging to win the inning. Good job by Simon. Votto, Bruce, and Frazier coming up. Reds trail 6-4. For every game, we call it Reds Live here on Fox Sports Ohio. Get you ready for all that's going on. It's presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. And then after the game, Reds Live, the post-game version. We'll break it all down. We'll hear from manager Dusty Baker, the players as well. Reds Live brought to you by Kings Honda. In the Kings Auto Mall, visit KingsHondaUSA.com. Well, the Reds looking for some kind of spark on offense. They scored 4 runs on 3 hits against John Garland in the first inning. They have been limited to 1 base hit. That was a 2-out double by Jack Hanahan down the right field line in the 4th. In fact, that's their only base run. The only walk issued in the game by Garland was in the first inning to Jay Bruce. Again, they shade Votto to pull in the infield. took away a hit and an RBI for Joey in the first inning. Started 2, laid off, and then his last time up went to 3-0. Swung at a ball, fouled it off the top of his foot. 3-1, fouled it off the end of his foot. And then on a 3-2 pitch, he hit a roller right back to the mound. Ground ball machine has been John Garland tonight. 9 of the last 12 outs have come via the ground ball, and 10 overall.
Yeah, we mentioned it last night, Tom. It just looks like Joey Votto, and he's played every game. He just looks a little bit tired. And I mean, if you go back to just this series, he's 1 for 10 in this series, and that's very un-Joey Votto-like. Somebody else on your ball club goes into a 1 for 10 string. It's like, well, he's just having a bad go of it. But Votto doesn't normally do that and not get on base a lot.
Well, we mentioned he only had 2 hits in the Pirates series. 3 games there.
You know, sometimes you think a guy that's because he's your best player, offensively anyway, and he's a leader of your ball club, an emotional leader of your ball club, they think he has to play every day or else you're going to collapse without him. But he's a human being too, and I don't think anybody down there works any harder than Joey Votto.
No way. So now 3 balls and 2 strikes, leading off the Reds' 6th inning. One out. We invite you to reserve your spot today and be part of the inaugural Reds Ultimate Autograph Experience. Your chance to get up and close with a personal touch with the 2013 Reds team. You get a bat, jersey, baseball sign. It's your chance to see the team and get their autographs yourself. Visit Reds.com/autograph for more details. That's Reds.com/autograph. Tonight's scheduled starter, Johnny Cueto, back to the disabled list, retroactive to last Friday. So what you count the days, you start the following day on Saturday. And he would be eligible to come off the 15th against the Milwaukee Brewers. That'll be the next homestand for the Reds a week from this Saturday night. And again, we were told that when he comes back, there won't be any minor league rehab starts like the last go around. Of course, he was out a month and a week the last time.
Yeah, I mean, if you missed a couple of starts, that means he's probably throwing all along. I mean, after his start in Pittsburgh, he did have a scheduled day to throw on the side the first day of this series a couple of days ago. And as he normally does, he goes out in the outfield, play a little catch first. And while he was doing that, he realized that, you know what, I got a little something in there. I'm going to tell him before it gets worse. I think the Reds are just trying to make as certain as they can be. And there's never any perfect certainty there. But you try to be as conservative as you can be so that you have your #1 starter going down the stretch late in the season.
Little foul. 3-2 to Bruce.
Well, we've seen a lot of loud fouls in this ball game. I mean, ripped down the line and off of John Garland, but not a lot of hard hit balls that in between the lines. Lots of ground balls. 10 ground ball outs, 2 strikeouts, and 4 fly balls.
You're talking about a guy coming into this game that has allowed 5 runs in each of his last 3 starts. 6 innings, 11 hits, 5 runs against Arizona. Lost. 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs against the Giants. Loss. And then got beat his last time out against the Dodgers. Again, 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 walks, 5 runs.
Well, this is a very typical game what you're seeing right now for John Garland. Not because he's retired so many in a row, but because he, you know, has already given up 4 runs. I mean, he usually goes about 5 or 6 innings, gives up 3 or 4 runs, and he's in a shower, and it becomes a bullpen game. How about that? He goes through Bono and Bruce back-to-back strikeouts. That's what I was talking about a moment ago. 3 strikeouts overall. Hanahan, Bono, and Bruce. 10 on the ground and 4 by the air. Well, they're not really certain how long John Garland's going to be around on his ball club, although he's pitching maybe for his Rocky Major League life right now. You may or may not know that the Rockies have signed Roy Oswalt. They struck a deal with him in early May. He's down in the minor leagues right now, and he has an opt-out on that contract, that minor league contract, that he's got to be called up either on June the 18th or on the 28th, or he becomes a free agent. So you can book it that Roy Oswalt will become a member of the Rockies fairly soon.
For the heart of the order, 1, 2, 3 for Garland.
Shoulders now with a hint of Old Spice. It was Alfredo Simon and Carlos Gonzalez. Gonzalez already with a couple of home runs. A loud foul right there, but a nice changeup by Alfredo Simon. And that is our head and shoulders with of Old Spice.
The Rockies coming to bat here in the top half of the 7th inning against Alfredo Simon, on to begin his 2nd inning of work. He allowed a single to the pitcher, John Garland, the first batter he faced, but then retired the next 3. So it'll be Tulowitzki, Kadire, and Helton.
I'm not so sure that Tulowitzki knew Simon had that pitch by that reaction.
Boy, all of a sudden this guy, you can't get him out. We mentioned in this series his first 7 at bats he did not have a single hit, and now all of a sudden he has a hit in 5 consecutive at bats.
Now, he didn't hit the ball hard the first time up, and not all that hard the 3rd time up. The home run was a bomb, and that was a rocket shot right by Kozar.
Now Kadire, 1 of 3 in the game, singled back in the first inning.
Yeah, they fooled Tulowitzki with a curveball and they came right back with a fastball that he belted for a base hit. Took a bad swing right there on the curveball. They might as well stay with that hook.
Those two guys right there, the leading vote getters at their respective positions for the National League All-Star team. Swing and a miss. Kadire gone on strikes.
And it was eventually the hook that did it right here. He gave him a couple of good ones in this at bat. And boy, that's a big breaker right there by Alfredo Simon.
Hall of Famer Marty Brennaman hanging out in our booth. Anytime there's something free over here, he'll find a way to come over.
Well, you better believe it. Even cold pizza is an attraction
here
for Marty Brennaman.
That's right.
Marty came over with a little bit of information, as he normally does, and we pay for that in this way with cold pizza. The stuff that's in the little cylinder that the trainers had, the freeze spray.
Yes.
The name is ethyl chloride. And he wanted to make sure. So.
Okay. Well, so there you see the Hall of Famer over there digging into that pizza. And so he just got a whole hunk of that thing, and he wanted to make sure, Chris, that you were up to speed on what that stuff is.
I feel quite a bit more educated now. And thank you for your contribution. Don't forget to tip Jesse on the way out for the pizza.
Two and one on Helton. Hit off the end of the bat. He was trying to unload on that pitch. Way out in front of him. And again, way out in front was Helton on that breaking ball at 85, but able to foul it away. Arizona scored in the second inning. 1-0 lead over St. Louis. But as we brought up before this series ever began, you know, Dusty Baker was talking about, he's asked about it frequently, of a Cardinals this, Cardinals that, best record in baseball, that kind of thing. He said, guys, I know you keep asking me about it. We know what kind of year they're having. We know what kind of year we are having. That ball in the air hard and deep the other way. And that is another Colorado home run. Wow. And that'll make it 8-4 Rockies. Helton, the 2-run home run to deep left center field. Hilton home run number 6, his second hit of the game here tonight. Now all of a sudden that 2-run deficit, you're staring down the barrel at 4. Breaking ball in there, strike. 1-2 on Rosario. Fly ball, left center field. That'll be playable out there for Chu. Looked like Xavier Paul had a beat on that. Chu called him off at the last minute. 2 are out. Been a rough 24 hours down there for Dusty Baker, Brian Price and company. We talked about, the writers waiting around a long time to talk to Tulowitzki last night after the game because he was working out. Those that cover the Reds were waiting a long time to get post-game comments from Dusty Baker. There's a base hit, a bleeder into left field by Herrera. Dusty Baker was in his office after the game with his pitching coach and with general manager Walt Jocketty. Undoubtedly talking about what was going to take place in regard to Johnny Cueto.
And I guess a couple of the options, Tommy, you may say, well, it's an easy decision, right? Don't you put Johnny Cueto on the disabled list and bring up another guy to take his place? Well, I imagine that some of the conversation was concerning how long does Johnny Cueto really need to be out? Could we bump him back a few days, and could he pitch with 2 extra days, or maybe 3 days, and in the meantime you send somebody else down, you spot start somebody tonight, then you bring Johnny Cueto back, a couple days from now.
Driven into left center field, and Chu cannot get it. They're waving around the runner Herrera, and he is in there safely on a double by the pinch hitter Jordan Pacheco. Colorado has scored 3 times against Simon, I beg your pardon, here in the 7th inning. And the Rockies now lead at 9-4.
He just throws a fastball right in the groove for Pacheco. And it looks like Chu's got a chance to catch that ball. In fact, he's got it right off the edge of his glove as he goes down. If he gets it, it's a nice play, no doubt about it. But it's one of those that he's thinking, man, I had it. It bounced out of the glove. Run number 9 comes in.
Things have gone from ugly to uglier. Colorado a 5-run lead. And John Garland, I don't think many people would have put a whole lot of money down on him getting through 6 innings after watching the 4-run first inning. Hanahan able to knock it down. Long throw, and he got the Speedy Young to end the inning. Good play by Hanahan. A 3-run inning. And the Reds will bat in the bottom of the 7th, trailing 9-4. Children's Hospital, ranking 3rd in the nation on the U.S. News and World Report's 2012 honor roll for best children's hospitals in America. And by Chevy. Stop into your Tri-State Chevy dealer today. Check out their full line of fuel-efficient vehicles. Wilton Lopez will now take over for John Garland, who gave up all 4 runs that he surrendered in 6 innings in the first inning.
And he was really in control ever since, and that'll be a bullpen game for the Rockies. Wilton Lopez will be the first right-hander out of the bullpen. He's formerly of the Houston Astros. In fact, he's one of those guys that we talked about over the last couple of days, Tom, a reliever that has been in a lot of games over the last 3 years. In 2010, 68 games last year, 70 or 64 last year, and 73 in 2011. And in each every one of those years with the Astros, his earned run average was tidy, under 3.0. But you just wonder how many years in a row a guy can make almost 70 appearances and keep his good stuff.
First pitch swinging. Straight away center field off the bat of Xavier Paul, getting turned around out there and able to finally recover was Young. 1 pitch and 1 out. Well, enjoy fun in the sun this baseball season out in the Kroger bleachers here at Great American Ballpark. Great place to catch the action. Plus, for additional savings, plan a group outing of 25 or more. The Kroger bleachers. Call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com/tickets today. I want to thank our friends from Papa John's Pizza, feeding our entire television crew before the game tonight. One of our great sponsors, and we cannot thank them enough.
In fact, they gave us so much pizza that we had enough left over for the radio broadcasters here this last inning. And that's how good Papa John's pizza is. You can eat it cold, and a Hall of Famer will travel all the way down the hall, come into the TV booth to get some.
Of course, that was supposed to be for you and I to take home, since we did not partake before the game in that. And Jesse's just handing it out because Marty walked in the booth.
Well, Marty and Jesse go way back. Way back. So I guess we found out a little bit about Jesse tonight.
A lot about Jesse. Jesse Jackson. Last seen patrolling somewhere and everywhere all over Cincinnati.
How many
foul ball out of play? How
many of those Matt Latos bobbleheads do you think Jesse has in that trunk?
Someone said that the bumper on his car was dragging on the ground from being weighed down.
Yep.
With pizza and bobbleheads. Two and two to count. And there's ball 3. Hanahan trying to get on, get something, anything started. I mean, the Reds have had nothing even that would resemble a threat since they scored 4 in the first inning. They got a 2-out double by Hanahan in the 4th. And the next batter was promptly retired to end that inning. And that is their only base runner since a Xavier Paul 3-run home run, capping the 4-run opening frame. And there's a walk. Those Cardinals coming into town over the weekend, and it's baseball night in America on Fox. And it's right here at Great American Ballpark. The Cardinals and the Reds. Baseball night in America begins Saturday at 7 p.m. on your local Fox affiliate. And locally, that will be channel 19 for those of you in greater Cincinnati. Friday night, and that's our only game here on Fox Sports Ohio. Wainwright v. Leake. Lions against Latos on Fox Network Saturday night, and Sunday an 8:05 game. Reds have only lost one home series this entire year, and that was to the Atlanta Braves. Braves came in here and won 2 out of 3 the 6th, 7th, and 8th of May. I mean, they've just been pounding teams here. The Angels, the Nationals, swept the Phillies. Miami swept the Cubs, swept Milwaukee. Should have swept the Cubs again were it not for an 8th inning meltdown on that Sunday afternoon going for the sweep. Beat Cleveland 2 in a row. That one in the air to center, 2 out. So Donald Ludd's going to come up and bat for Alfredo Simon. Manny Parra getting ready in the bullpen. Simon 2 innings, 5 hits. Allows 3 runs, all of them coming in the Colorado 7th inning. Struck out 2, did not walk a batter. Want to know to Lutz. Tapper to the left side, fielded by the third baseman Arenado, and he'll throw out the pinch hitter Lutz. We go to the 8th. Colorado leading 9-4. That's a week from Friday. The Reds will take on the Milwaukee Brewers. We've got the big post-game fireworks show going on, presented by Furniture Fair. That'll be the Brewers in for 3. Then the Pirates will follow that in for a 4-game series. Tickets are available for all of those games, as they are, to remind you, for the entire Cardinals series, which begins on Friday night. There are good tickets available, we are told, for that Cardinals series. So come on down to the ballpark. 4th pitcher of the night for the Reds will be Manny Parra.
Now, Manny Parra, since coming back off the disabled list, and he went on the disabled list in late April, came off the list just about a month later. Well, he's not given up an earned run since he has come back. That's covering 4 outings. Now, Dusty Baker's kind of handled him with kid gloves a little bit. 3 of those 4 outings have been come in and get 1 batter out, but also a couple of those outings have been somewhat pressure packed, coming in to get a tough left-hander out. Last pitched a few days ago in Pittsburgh in the 5-4 Reds loss.
And he's greeted by a base hit by Arenado into right field. Been a big night for Carlos Gonzalez. Our Nissan drives, plural, of the game. First inning went the other way with a home run, solo shot. And then, man, oh man, did he clobber a pitch in the 4th. I mean, way out of here with 2 men aboard. 16 home runs and 40 runs batted in on the year for Carlos Gonzalez. Pitch taken away to Gonzalez. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fouled off out of play to the 3rd base side. So 1-2 to Gonzalez. Once more off to the 3rd base side. Frazier over near the stands and runs out of room, about 4 rows out of play.
You know, Gonzalez is one of those guys who is a left-handed hitter, really committed to hitting a left-handed breaking ball. And you look at the splits that Gonzalez has, and he actually hits much better. I mean, much better against lefties this year than he does against right-handers, because he's willing to hit that ball to left field. That was the location of his first home run. Or right field.
And for the 2nd time in his career, he has clobbered 3 home runs in a single game.
Now, anytime you got a guy that is hitting over 340 against left-handers, and he's a left-handed hitter, you got to tip your hat, and if you're Manny Parr, you got to stay out of that hot zone. Reds pitchers have found out. We're going to find out in this at bat with our Mazda pitch by pitch, and examine and break down this at bat between Parr and Carlos Gonzalez. It ends up in that 3-run home run, breaking ball first, and Parr's going to like that breaking ball on him. Wastes a fastball right there. There's another slider, and he's ahead now, 1 ball and 2 strikes. This is where Gonzalez gets tough. He starts fouling the ball off, and then finally gets a hanger right there that he just unjammed. So 3 bombs on the night for Cargo.
And now Tulowitzki unloads. I mean to tell you, these Rockies are flexing their muscles here tonight. 3 home runs in the game for Gonzalez, and now 2 home runs in the game, 3 in the last game and 1 at bat for Troy Tulowitzki. Helton has hit a 2-run home run in this game. It is 12-4 Colorado.
Boy, they thought the ball flies in Denver.
You're not kidding. It's flying out of here tonight. Tell you what, the Colorado Rockies, if they can keep the heart of that order healthy, which is something they have been unable to do for a number of years now. You remember last year, Tulowitzki missed almost the entire year. The year before that, Gonzalez missed a lot of games. That was in 2011 when he only played in 127 games and still drove in 92 runs. And Parra has allowed a 4th consecutive hit. Single, homer, double against Manny Parra to open up this 8th inning.
Now I got to figure that based on what Manny Parra's done since come off the disabled list, that Dusty Baker has some confidence in him to come out here, have a little inning of tune-up. It has not worked out that way. He's given up a single, a couple of home runs, a double there going the opposite way as Kadire.
And I got to believe Manny Parra is going to be out there a while.
Well, I don't see anybody working in the bullpen. I don't see a lot of movement towards that bullpen phone. Check that. There looks like there is some rustling around down there. Probably J.J. Hoover.
And it is J.J. Hoover. I remember I was working for the Diamondbacks at the time, and of course I was fortunate enough to be around that franchise literally from conception. And seeing every draft they had, going back to 2 years, 3 years before they started playing, 96, and then they had the expansion draft and all that kind of thing. Well, Carlos Gonzalez was, I mean, undeniably the best player they had in their minor league system. I mean, you see this guy in spring training. A lot like the Reds saw, you know, a Donald Lutz, or, you know, pick somebody you see playing a lot of spring training games. Different kind of a player, of course, than Billy Hamilton, as Parra strikes out Helton on a breaking ball away from him. But, you know, you look once he really got it kicking into gear. 18 home runs in 129 games. He knocked in 92. Single A South Bend, Indiana. Next year hit 23 home runs, knocked in 99. They moved him up to Double A down in Tennessee. And I remember, Chris, after I had the opportunity to come back here, before that 07 season ever began, and they traded Gonzalez for Dan Herron. Now, at the time, Dan Herron was among the best pitchers in all of baseball. So you can't ever fault anybody for going out and getting a legitimate, at the time, a legitimate #1 starting pitcher. But my oh my, when you think about 3 players they had in their system that could have been in their outfield for a long time. You think about Carlos Gonzalez, You think about Carlos Quentin, who they traded and nearly won an MVP award in the American League. And of course, they just traded Justin Upton. Upton's what, 25? Carlos Gonzalez is 27. And you had both of them.
Carlos Gonzalez, 27, and already 6 years in the major leagues. Lifetime batting average of 300.
Rosario out of there for the second out of the inning. And really for Gonzalez, you got to throw out those first 2 years because he was in Oakland. I mean, they ran him up as a baby to the big leagues. He wasn't even ready. Didn't even get regular playing time. Wasn't until he got to Colorado. And that was in the deal for Matt Holliday. It's when the Oakland A's were trying to nail down a playoff spot. They felt like they were that one big bat away. Colorado was not going to be able to re-sign Holliday. So they traded him. It's a pretty good deal when you're getting rid of a player you're not going to keep.
Yeah.
And be able to bring in a player like Gonzalez. Now Herrera, Reds down 12-4. We're in the 8th inning. So most runs allowed by the Reds in any game this season. They had allowed 10 twice. Once to St. Louis and once to the Pirates. Well, you take last year away when the Rockies just had a bad year, but they have always had a big time swinging the bat since Great American Ballpark opened. Tonight's the second time they've had 2 players with multi-home run games in the same game. Back in 04, Jeremy Burnitz and Matt Holliday did it. Tonight it is Gonzalez and Tulowitzki. Or a long look in and now has to back off the rubber. Strike 3 called, and that will end the inning. Back-to-back home runs from Gonzalez and Tulowitzki sends us to the bottom of the 8th inning. All Colorado here tonight. Our Miller Time moment brought to you by Miller Lite. Of course, he won the race here last year.
And he drives a Miller Lite #2 car. There he is celebrating. And threw out the first pitch tonight wearing #2. And later on in the ballgame, this is where the highlight was, when he got to visit with Jim Day and endorsing his sponsor.
He's down in the Fox Sports Ohio suite down there.
I didn't know we had a suite.
That's what I was told. So you haven't been invited either?
No. Well, so we do have something in common. We agree on it.
Tom Farmer, our executive producer, is here tonight. Perhaps that's his signal.
Maybe if we had some pizza left over, we could bribe our way into the suite. But your dad ate it all. Adam Ottavino, 19 games for him, good earned run average. He comes in here, lots of strikeouts, throwing strikes. And meanwhile, Walt Weiss is out to make a double switch. It's taken so long that Jerry Cedarstrom, the crew chief, is going to come around and find out what's going on.
Well, they've got a new center fielder. Dexter Fowler has come into this game. Young move over into left. Night is over for Gonzalez. Reds pitching says thank you very much for that. And that doesn't look like Michael Kadire out there in right, is it? Is that still him out there? I guess it is. It is. So we have everything straightened out now. Young, Fowler, Kadire in the outfield. Arenado, Tulowitzki. Oh, no, we don't. We have a new second baseman as well. And a new shortstop. There are changes everywhere. That's why it took so long.
Spring training game.
Yep. Well, it's got to be Herrera now at shortstop. I think that's probably a safe bet. And I would imagine that's DJ LeMahieu that has taken over out at second base. That's because it is. And of course, the ball will find him immediately. 1 out. Chu a hitless game tonight. 0 for 4 for Shin-Soo Choo. Cardinals have just tied the Diamondbacks. That is a 1-1 game in the bottom of the 4th inning at Busch Stadium. They waited a little while to get started tonight after a short rain delay. They have one more game to go in that series. Arizona coming into St. Louis for 4 of them. And big Jonathan Broxton probably needing to get in a little work. I would imagine we're going to see him in the 9th inning rather than Manny Parra, who went 1 inning, allowed 4 hits and 3 runs. So the question that certainly will be asked after this game, as there's a liner to short for the 2nd out of the inning, is all right, what to do now with the spot occupied for tonight anyway by Pedro Villarreal. I mean, would they think about giving this young man another start 5 days from now, or Tony Cingrani, who started on what, Sunday? Give him a couple of extra days and have him come in there and bring him back up to the major leagues. I mean, we know Cueto's on the disabled list, so 5 days from now, when the Reds are in Chicago, they're going to need somebody to start.
I remember there's an off day tomorrow, so you can push that back a day, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I got to believe you and I are not obviously the general manager of the team, but it would be shocking to me if the Reds are going to have to go. Well, what would it be? I guess in essence, for sure, one more start. And I guess that would be it if Votto comes back or Cueto comes back when they think he will. Reds gone in order. We go to the ninth. Colorado up 12-4.
Tonight, so far, top of the ninth inning, Jonathan Broxton in the Colorado Rockies 12-4, 19 hits for Walt Weiss's crew tonight. And here's the calendar for the rest of June. The Reds have seen the Rockies, of course, in this three-game series this weekend against the Cardinals, and the Cubs and the Brewers, the Pirates, the Diamondbacks on the road. They'll take a three-city road trip against the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Oakland Athletics and the Texas Rangers before returning home. So you can see that some of the teams other than the Cubs and Brewers that they will play are all over 500, and a challenge ahead for Dusty Baker and his ball club. But first, one more inning to play tonight. Jonathan Broxton on the hill.
So Jonathan Broxton, first time we have seen him since he gave up that game-tying two-run home run to Garrett Jones on Sunday. Of course, last night the Reds had a lead in the eighth inning, and for the first time this year, when all hands were on deck, so to speak, meaning you had everybody available in your bullpen. They had not worked, 2-3 days in a row, 4 out of 5. Where Broxton was available, the Reds had the lead. It was the eighth inning, and he was not brought in to pitch. Sam LeCure got that chance last night, and he surrendered the two-run home run, proved to be the game-winning home run for Colorado, to Troy Tulowitzki. Ottavina gonna bat, and behind an account 0-2, and Broxton misses with a fastball at 96 miles per hour. Broxton not the kind of guy that's going to come out and say it. I mean, he is a very humble man. He through the whole thing during spring training, when the Reds signed him to the contract and signed him with the intention of being their closer, when they made the decision that Chapman would still be the closer, not a peep out of Broxton. Just said, hey, look, I want to be here. I want to win a World Series. All the things that you want to hear one of your players say. Well, he wasn't going to say a word about last night being bypassed in the eighth inning. That's just not Jonathan Broxton. Foul tipped into the mid of Hannigan, 1 out. Eric Young, the batter, with 1 out. And play by Kozart. And his throw is in time to get Young. Good play by Zach. 2 out.
Well, you're not kidding about that. Zach went into shallow center field to flag that baby down. And remember, Eric Young can scoot it down the line pretty good.
Arenado, the batter, and a fastball is up and away. Reds in the bottom of the 9th will have Bruce, Frazier, and Paul. Ottavino will remain on the mound after batting here in the top of the 9th. And a base hit in the right center field. Arenado, a 4-hit game. They're very high on this young man, believing he is their third baseman for many years to come. Of course, it was a year ago they were saying the same thing about Jordan Pacheco.
That's true. And before that, Clint Barmas. But, you know, I guess tonight Nolan Arenado has answered the question. How do you have a 4-hit game and never be noticed?
You're right.
You have a 4-hit game when one of your teammates hits 3 home runs, one of them 475 feet. You pick the same night where another teammate hits 2 home runs and has a 4-hit night, like Tulowitzki. Oh, by the way, nice game, Nolan.
Well, you can book it. His manager noticed it, because his manager played on teams where Walt Weiss could have a lot of good games and he could get overlooked every night.
You're right about that.
I mean, you're talking about Walt Weiss when he came to the major leagues. Well, the Oakland Athletics, we talked last night about how he was a 1988 American League Rookie of the Year. Ricky Henderson, greatest leadoff man in the history of the game. Jose Canseco, Mark McGuire, Carney Lansford. They had Dave Stewart. If I'm not mistaken, 88 was the year that Bob Welch won 25 games. I could be wrong on that note, but I'm pretty sure that's right. 88 or 89. When did they play the Dodgers? 88. I think that's the year Bob Welch won 25. I beg your pardon. Joe Lucca tells me it was 1990. He won 25 games. They had Dennis Eckersley, best closer in the game. That was a team full of stars.
In fact, when he came up in 1987, Walt Weiss was a teammate of Jose Rijo.
How about that? Of course, Rijo 3 years later would dominate the Oakland Athletics in that 1990 World Series. Trying to get the final out here in the top of the 9th inning is Jonathan Broxton. Retired the first 2 and allowed a base hit in the right field. Now ahead 1-2 on Fowler. Been one ugly ball game for the home team here tonight.
Yeah, there have not been all that many ugly games this year played. In fact, you've got to go back, I think it's early May. That 7-2 loss to the Braves. That was kind of an ugly game. Reds have been pretty good about staying away from these kind of games at home, especially.
And of course tonight, a night where a young man was making his first major league start. 20 hits in a game, the most allowed by the Reds since July the 6th of 2009. That was a game they lost 22-1. Remember that game? 09. So tonight certainly is way out of the norm for this Reds pitching staff, which since the beginning of last year has the lowest earned run average among all teams in Major League Baseball. That's right, #1 in all of baseball. I think a lot of people will be surprised if you ask them that. If you said, okay, what team best ERA in baseball since opening day 2012? I think a lot of people would guess the Giants. I think probably some people would guess Tampa Bay Rays, maybe Washington Nationals. If you're just talking about the beginning of last year. On swinging fouler, but the Reds would be the answer to that question. #1. The Reds will bat in the bottom of the ninth, trailing 12-4. To Dixie baseball. I assume that's Dixie Heights. Chris, congratulations to your son over at Ryle. They reached the state high school semifinals in Kentucky before losing last night.
They did. In fact, it was all set. Jeff Pecoro's old school, Tate's Creek, was all set according to the bracket. Had they won their match, or they won their ball game against Collins, and had Ryle won their game against Harrison County, those two teams would have squared off. As it turns out, both those teams, Tate's Creek and Ryle, ousted, but it was a good year for both those teams, and especially Ryle. They won 32 ball games.
Sure.
That's a good run for the Raiders of Ryle. So congratulations to Pat Rosal and the whole gang. Boy, what a good group of kids and good group of parents that they were able to put together this year. And believe me, when I say good group of parents, that is important.
Well, you're not lying about that. Talk to anybody who's coaching any sport. And I don't care what level it is, but especially once you move into junior high school and high school, if you've got good parents that aren't giving you a hard time, then you're having a really good year, even before the wins start piling up. 2-1 to Jay Bruce. Reds had 4 runs and 3 hits in the first inning. They have had one hit ever since. That was a double by Jack Canahan with 2 outs in the 4th inning. And Bruce is gone swinging. 1 out here in the ninth. So Colorado will become just the second team to win a series over the Reds here at Great American Ballpark this season. And here we are in the second week of June.
Boy, and it's kind of a surprise, too, because that game that Bronson Arroyo pitched in the first night of this 3-game series seems like a long time ago. And you thought after that night, and as anemic as the Rockies' bats looked that night, you thought, well, maybe you're catching the Rockies at the right time where they're not swinging the bats. They're not scoring, even though they came into this series having scored more runs overall on the year than the Reds. And they'll leave with that same credit.
Diving play in third, and that'll be an infield hit for Frazier. Good effort over there by Arenado. First hit since a hand-to-hand double in the fourth.
Going way to his left is Arenado. They're very high in this young man. I think his defense is terrific. He comes up and just can't get the handle on it.
Devin Mesoraco will be sent up as a pinch hitter. Of course, Devin will be behind the plate against Adam Wainwright and the Cardinals here on Friday night. He has been working so splendidly with Mike Leake. Leake has been, without a doubt, the hottest pitcher on the Red staff, and he has been among the hottest pitchers in all of Major League Baseball.
And you got to give some credit to the catcher.
Sure.
That's what you're saying. I think that's a good point, Tom. And these guys have really been really on the same page.
You know, Dusty was talking about, you may remember a little more than a week ago with the off day coming up tomorrow, about, you know, reshuffling around to whatever extent that you could have done it. I mean, realistically, because the Reds have not had an off day in nearly 2 weeks. So there's only so much you can do as Mesoraco has gone on strikes and the Reds are down to their final out. But there was some consideration about tinkering around with a rotation, not so much the way the rotation is working day by day, but the way the catching rotation is working right now. They're in a habit and in an alignment where Mesoraco has been catching Leake and Latos, and those guys pitch back-to-back days. And then Hannigan has been catching Arroyo, Cueto, and Homer Bailey, who happen to go consecutive days. And the Reds manager wasn't all that crazy about the way that was set up. Hanahan looks at a breaking ball strike, and it's 0-2. So the Rockies will get out of here with back-to-back wins to wrap up this series. Oh, 2 to Hanahan. So, Chris, I guess you just, you know, you go home and get a good night's rest. You really enjoy your off day tomorrow, and you got to be ready to play Friday.
Well, and there are some guys in this ball club, Tom, that look like they could use an off day. And normally what Dusty Baker likes to do with some of the guys that are most fatigued is give them 2 days. Give them a day before the off day or a day after. But you're not giving any of the big boys an off day against this Cardinal series, I can tell you that. So let's hope that those guys that need a rest get a rest. Stay away from the ballpark. A mental rest is as important as a physical rest. I think the atmosphere will be a little different on Friday night than it is right now.
And again, one more time, we understand there are good tickets still available Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights right here at Great American Ballpark. Reds against the Cardinals. 2-2 to Hanahan. So get on the horn.
You don't get down about a loss like this. Well, these happen in baseball.
Yeah.
You play enough games, you're going to get whooped up on pretty good every once in a while.
The ones like last night and the one like Sunday, those are the ones that get you.
I agree with you.
I mean, you played, I didn't, but it just seems like even from where we sit, those are the ones you just go home. You're like, you know.
Yeah. They keep you up.
They've had 3 of those in the last 10 days. That final game on the last homestand, going for the sweep over the Cubs when they had the 4-1 lead. Cueto came out of the game and lost the game in extra innings. And 7 days later, against the Pirates, and then last night, ball hit pretty well, but Kadire able to get it, and that's the old ball game. Colorado wins in the 8th inning last night on a home run by Tulowitzki. Get 2 from Tulowitzki tonight, 3 from that man, Carlos Gonzalez, in a 12-4 rout over the Reds tonight. Reds Live coming up next. Have a great night, everybody.